there's a theme throughout the book as well that kind of centers on the importance of solitude. It comes up in various chapters, and there's a few that kind of stand out. There's one that I think was in your growth section of the book where you spoke about encouraging people to eat out alone.
Yes.
Why should we not be so scared of going out and sitting in a restaurant by ourselves? I think, I'll put my hand up. It sounds pretty daunting. Can't say sure, a cafe, but an actual restaurant, how many times in my life have I gone there without technology and sat down there just by myself, no distractions, with lots of people around sharing meals together? Yeah, not many.
Well, the first thing I'd say to that is the discomfort of growth is always more dangerous than the illusion of safety. And we are meant to risk, and we come alive when we are out on the skinny branch. So doing the things that most terrify us is how we get our power back to the things that terrify us. So why do I say eat out alone? Because it's bravery training. If you feel uncomfortable doing that, then I would say go do it, because if you keep on doing it, you're going to take your power back in this world where so few of us can be alone. We live, even when it's so easy, even when we get home, the inclination is turn on music or pull out the phone. And obviously, the more we do it, the more it's going to be stimulating and we're going to be addicted to it. So that chapter on eating out alone is about bravery training, and it's one of the ways that we can grow. I mean, I think we should set up scenarios for strategic growth. Do difficult things. I talk about in the book, I talk about my sailing instructor. Every 2 years, he would pick an adventure that would scare him, and he would do those things.
I have another quote of yours. I think it's yours. It's not from this book. Some of your other writing, but it speaks to this. Frequent discomfort is the price of accelerated progress.
Yes. Yeah, hard is easy and easy is hard. So when I wrote The Wealth Money Can't Buy, I can tell you, I wrote it about over 12 months last year. And it was a beautiful suffering. I rewrote it maybe 20 versions of the manuscript. Each one of those versions might have had 5,000 plus changes in it. It was hard, grueling, painful work. And I could have mailed it in. I've written a number of books. My publisher would have been happy. But I think the moment you start mailing something in, you're on the path of obsolescence.
And you need that friction or resistance, I guess, in order to feel fulfilled with it.
I totally agree. So it was a beautiful suffering. It was really hard. I pushed my craft to the jagged edges. It wasn't easy, but hard is easy, because I think when you consistently do hard things, you have an easier life. You know this. You have hard workouts, or you do difficult things in your health protocols, or you have the difficult conversation with your significant other, or do something that you've been frightened to do. It creates an easier life. You love yourself more. I mean, if you want to love yourself more, do more of the things you don't love doing.
When you're talking about bravery in that chapter, I think you say how you do one thing is how you do everything. Can you unpack that?
So it's an old idea, but the way you make your coffee sets up a way of being for the way you do the work project. Everything matters. So the way you do the little things is the way you do the big things. There's a word, it's not talked about enough, Simon, but it's your approach. Your approach. And I think it's really important to calibrate your approach and to optimize your approach, because your approach, the way you approach making a cup of coffee, the way you approach making a meal at home. I talked to a lot of people today. I had a conversation with the the valet out front of the hotel.
And it's only 11 a.m.
It's only 11 a.m. I'm
just warming up.
And he said, we were talking about mise en place. So a great chef, before they start the meal, is going to line up all the tools perfectly. It seems like something very small, but lining those things up perfectly sets up a way of being for an excellent meal. One of the top restaurants in the world was 11 Madison. And they had a protocol where the logo of the restaurant under the plate had to be lined in a perfect orientation. And people used to say, why would that matter? The diner's not going to see the logo. But it was like, yeah, but it sets up an experience that's going to be wow. And so the way you do the smallest of things sets up the way you do. It sets up your approach. Even the little things you do for people sets up the way that you treat people. Speaking about hotel rooms, because I'm in one, remembering that someone's mother or father is going to come into the hotel room and clean that room sets up a way of being with, well, I better take the towels and put them in the bathtub, and I better make sure that everything is fairly neat because there's a human being coming in here and I want them to have a good experience.
Be a good person.
Be a good person.